Chill. Ha.
Yeah, buddy.
What's up, man? Alexander Hill, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man.
Wonderful, man.
Finally got this time to connect. Last time it was just didn't happen, but here
Yeah,
we go.
man. I have never done a Instagram live, and I didn't know how it worked. I didn't know I had to join on your live so that you could invite me in. I was like sitting there looking at my phone, waiting for the invite, and I was like, oh well.
If you don't know, now you know.
Exactly, man. How are you today, man?
Good, bro. Just sipping on my chaga latte.
Nice. I'm sticking with just some water here. So you are you the co-leader of the Man Tribe?
Well, I started it in 2017, and yeah, it's been almost three. It's been exactly 3 years, actually.
3 years. 3 years, 10,000 followers. That's pretty good, man. How many people are you getting at the retreats?
It varies. We last one we had 22. I've had different partners and mentors and coaches and people come along. You know, I started out with Troy Casey in the beginning.
No way.
Yeah.
I actually just became Troy Casey's intern.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we did a bunch of stuff together when we were back in Venice, and we did a lot of retreats and events together, and then we just kind of things happened, went our separate ways, and he moved to Arizona, I moved to Oregon, and here we are.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean I live in Arizona too, so it's pretty trippy. When he came here, I saw the universe. I was like, "Oh, that was meant to happen." So I've been trying to connect with him. That's cool, man. For those people who don't know, you're leader of the Man Tribe, and this is a men's retreat group slash men's healing group, counseling group. What how would you define it?
Yeah, you know, the mission is to bring men together. So
Okay,
whatever that looks like from moment to moment is what it looks like from moment to moment. And
I
you
like
know,
that.
started out, we were really physical. We did a lot of breath work and ice baths and movement, and that was, you know, in Venice on the beach and the ocean in my backyard with
Yeah,
laser tubs and, you know, fires. We had fires in my backyard, and then, you know, things changed. You know, the my neighbor wrote me a letter. He's like, "Your fires are coming. The smoke is coming in my window." Rah rah rah. And then let's see, pandemic dropped about 5 months ago, so we moved everything virtual.
hmm,
Now we're an online community. We've had about 5 programs. I partnered with Kelly Gardner, who's our lead coach, and he has about 20 years experience in the coaching space and
okay, cool.
traditional men's work, archetypes, emotional awareness, everything that we do in our support groups online. So that it's been a big shift, man, going from those in-person weekly meetups to everything moving online. But I must say, you know, we're connecting on a deeper level and a more frequent basis with the brothers in the group. We're doing deeper work because it's more structured and it's more, you know, a lot of people have more time to devote to their healing work now
Yeah,
that pandemic.
yeah, that's cool. So like, what has been, what do you think the change has been that has allowed you guys to go deeper, other than it just being simply more structured?
You know, yeah, well, structure is everything. You know,
Yeah,
it's like, especially when you're in the masculine, you know, we have a structured curriculum. We're very regimented in the work that we do, and it follows a 7 week curriculum. So essentially, we build up, and you know, we just didn't have that in Venice. It was great, but it was more informal and it was more active and physical.
yeah,
And you know, at the time, that was perfect. I guess that's what everybody needed. And now it's like, you know, we're doing a lot more shadow work. We're doing a lot more intimate work where we're like, you know, going deep, crying on Zoom sometimes, like laughing on Zoom sometimes, like,
yeah,
you know, but just really going to the depths of the spiritual healing and understanding, you know, purpose, understanding life, you know, from all these different perspectives, and just being supported, you know, brother to brother in that journey.
Oh, that's cool, man. So I heard you say it was a 7 week curriculum. So is that so like you join the man tribe and then you enter and you start a 7 week curriculum like right then, or is there rotations of curriculums that you guys are going through throughout the year and it's like
Yeah,
everybody's
so we do quarterly retreats. Our next retreat's going to be in Arizona, November 12th.
cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I saw that earlier today. I was checking out the
Three
website.
days, 3 days straight, and yeah, it's basically 7 week deep dive. Then we offer a facilitator training, which is how to be a coach and how to hold space for other men. And really, these tools and these skills are applicable to men, but really, as a healer in general, we need to understand how to speak to people consciously and conscious communication, nonviolent communication. Some of the tools that we teach and a lot of these methods we get from Kelly, who's a coach and
Hmm.
mentor of mine, but these tools are so applicable to the time that we're in. You see how many people are arguing on social media and arguing in real life and, not talking to family members, not
Yeah.
talking to friends. It's like, what would it look like to be using nonviolent communication in every aspect of our life?
Yes.
You know? Honoring the people that we would normally argue with or normally disagree with, and allowing us to be in our power and our space, and allowing them to, think what they think, and still not giving our power away. Because I just see
Yeah.
so much of that. So many people get pissed off, give their power away,
No.
and that's not how it's supposed to be.
No, definitely the actually the title to the next podcast that I'm going to release is finding similarities within our differences. So
Yes.
definitely right along with that. I don't
So key right now. So key.
yes, I don't see the need for all the division. But I think people are starting to sniff the bullshit and wake up finally. Well, at least a little by little, you know.
One
Um,
by one, day by day.
Exactly. That's all you can do, man. That's all you can ever hope for. So is the 7 week curriculum, is that to become like a mentor within the men's tribe, a mentor outside, or is that to do just spiritual personal work?
So the 7 weeks is essentially, it's a deep dive. So we're going into all aspects of self.
Right.
That's everything from our childhood to our relationships to our purpose and our career. Relationships with friends, family, loved ones. I mean, you know, we do a lot of different exercises that are traditional. Our framework is the traditional Carl Jungian archetypes. So the king, the warrior, the lover, the magician.
Okay.
We keep a lot of that traditional men's work structure, which is basically from a bunch of these books like Iron John and the archetypes. Um, it's just this movement of men's work that's happening across the globe right now. And there's a lot of commonalities, a lot of common denominators. And there's also a lot of things that we do. We do challenges, we do breathwork
Cool.
challenges, self-care challenges, self-expression challenges, dancing challenges, all these things that are like, hey, if you need, more masculine in your life, get your ass down and do burpees for 21 days straight.
Yeah.
If you need more, slowing down and gentle touch, make a commitment to massage yourself or massage your balls or massage your wife for 21 days,
Interesting.
and,
Oh, that's
and
interesting.
it's like
Okay.
the path to grace. The path to grace is a beautiful one. And if grace is something that's needed, we can do a dance challenge, or, we basically make commitments to maybe some of the stuff we might not want to do right away, but we know is good for us.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I find that I do that in my own life, just kind of like naturally. Like for instance, I'm doing three challenges at the same time right now. I'm doing Tim Ferriss's Knob Nom, no booze, no masturbation for 30 days. I'm doing a bulking routine for 30 days, and then I'm only eating chicken, steak, and eggs and like 3,000 calories a day for 30 days, all at the same time. And it's that practice of just like you need that masculinity or the self discipline or to grow this specific thing in your life, so you enact this thing and then it sharpens. Like I was actually looking at it the other day, like each time you do a challenge, It's like a stroke of a blade on a whetstone of the self-discipline, like sharpening your self-discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cumulative effect and the compound interest and consistency are huge.
Yeah, and not to mention the self-confidence and rewards of dopamine and serotonin that happens when you complete something that you never thought was possible or that you've never done before. I find that to be amazing. Cool. So say I was to join the Man Tribe tomorrow. What would that look like? Would I just do you just sign up? Is there a way to sign up, or is it just congratulations, you're a part of this?
Well, we go through a spanking initiation.
Oh,
Have you ever been in a fraternity?
I have not.
Okay. So you don't even know. You don't even know what you're in for, bro. But nah, I mean yeah, it's really for people that want to transform and level up and be in community. You
Yeah,
know? So I wouldn't say we're exclusive, like these high level masterminds or anything like that. We just see, it's like I tell this story of we offer scholarships, we offer, and a lot of men are actually turned off because they might think, oh, I want to perform at a really really high level. And I've been in all those groups too. I had a $20,000 coach. I was making multiple six figures in real estate in New York City. And what I learned, what really is the spiritual key here, and one of the things that I hold near and dear to my heart is that if you're not coming up if you're not coming up with solutions for all of humanity, you're not coming up with solutions.
yeah, that makes sense. Huh?
So if something is available to only a certain level of the population, that's great. But can you make it available to how wide does your diversity go? So we offer scholarships, we offer economic incentives. Our programs are paid, but we do have applications for need and things like that. And I was just listening to a podcast recently, and a number of years ago, I think it was like 2 decades ago, there was a serious drought in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And during that drought, the richest people in the city, I'm trying to remember what the capital of South Africa is. Anyway, the richest people in that city, they had water trucked in to their community, their gated communities, their gated private communities.
Damn.
And the other people outside of those gated communities didn't have water. So eventually what happened is, I'm sure you can guess, is the people outside of the gates, they stormed the gated communities and they got their water.
Yes.
And, we're not that far away from that happening in this country. I mean, all it would take is a drought or a natural disaster or something where the separation between the rich and the poor could really be seen, but it's huge. It's massive.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, sure, we could offer a very high end program, for $5,000 or $20,000, and a lot of people are doing that. But really, like, our level of education and community building and understanding is that everybody needs a shot. Everybody needs an opportunity to grow and to transform. And like, we've had brothers on scholarship from East LA that couldn't afford, the program, and we let them in. And we had that scholarship available to them. And then we have guys where it's like our $1,000 course is probably too little.
Right.
But because coaching is very much a value energy exchange proposition. So if you're a multi-millionaire, $1,000 course probably isn't going to be enough for you to really commit and to show up. But if you're
if you're making $60,000 a year,
right? So every coach plays at a different level based on the amount of money that his client has. Usually, typically, it doesn't have to be that way, but when people are playing a bigger money game, they tend to want bigger stakes for things that they're going to pay for and show up. And they just, if you make more, you spend more, typically.
yeah. That's beautiful. I can definitely appreciate that because I mean for any of the things that I've been trying to do in this realm of self help or biohacking or health or spirituality or retreats or anything like that, it's definitely I'm not one of those rich people, so I can appreciate that. Like when I saw your treat price, I think it was like almost 600, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 600. That is superiorly reasonable. like I was like, for a 3 4 day retreat out in a beautiful thing for that kind of experience.
Yeah,
That's
it
doable.
speaks to the work. I mean, it speaks to the work and what we're about. I mean, we want this available to everybody, and that's like a 3.5 day 4 day retreat with organic food, and
Yeah, that's super cheap.
that's pretty much that's that's what we're about. We're about making it accessible to everyone. So we don't want one subset of the population. We want everybody. We want
Yeah.
humanity. We want humanity to come together and heal and pray, and we
Yes.
want that to be that as the new model.
Yeah. Yeah, that's my mission too, man. I think like that's what I'm setting out to do with this, trying to build this platform is bring people together towards the oneness of loving of oneness of love and consciousness. I said that completely wrong. It's
Completely right.
yeah, it was something like that. I had it. I had like a specific phrase that I said the other day, and I was trying to nail it, and I fucked it up. It's trying to bring everybody to the like realization of oneness and love. Yes, there we go. I was trying to add consciousness in there for no reason. But yeah, and so I think like that's one of the reasons why I want to talk to you on my podcast was because the people who are listening to my show are entry level people into this, and I think this would be a good exposure to them as a possibility for a route for something that they could explore for helping themselves as well. And I appreciate you putting that out there because that's the kind of that's the denominator that I'm trying to appeal to as well, just different facets. So I'm trying to instill curiosity into that lowest denominator so that they can do their own research and dive into this and then find somebody like you and then go to a retreat and then change their life.
It's all about lighting the flame and sparking the spark and inspiring. It's like
Yes.
if I can do anything with this life and this gift of life and health, it's inspire another person.
Oh man, yes. There's no
That's
other greater feeling. Yeah, like every time, like how good does it feel when somebody reaches out to you and says thank you and or says that you impacted their life or made a difference?
massive, awesome.
Yeah, it's like it's that little like fuel in the gas tank to keep going, man. That's cool. So could you give me? I'm curious, like what I know you started it 3 years ago, but what were the events that led up to this moment of starting this kind of thing?
Yeah, my own healing journey. I grew up, born and raised in New York City, and a pretty normal. I don't even know what normal means, but I went to public school, and it was in the Bronx, so that was a little maybe different than the average American upbringing. But yeah, I grew up in New York City. I grew up in a place called Riverdale, which was this kind of like mixed area of the Bronx. The Bronx is super diverse, lots of immigrants of different backgrounds and races, and I was in like this pocket of a Jewish community in Riverdale, and then the high school I went to was mostly, Black, Hispanic, Jamaican, melting pot of
Yeah.
different cultures. So I was the white boy. My name was white boy for most of high school. From most of the people who didn't know me, even the guys that knew me, I was like the white kid in a school of about 5,000 kids. So
Different experience.
I took on this like archetype or this personality of like never really fitting in and just learning to be okay with that from a very early age, but also feeling like really disconnected for most of high school and not having a culture to really connect to, not having teachings that really resonated with my heart. Everything always felt kind of off in the classroom. I was thinking and feeling on a very deep level, and it just didn't seem like the stuff we were learning was like really landing for me. So for most of my formative years, I was the class clown because I was always looking for some kind of like excitement or adrenaline or stir some shit up because I
Yeah.
was genuinely bored in class because I didn't feel like I was being stimulated to my full potential. And I didn't think anybody was, so I didn't think it was a big deal for me to crack a joke or say something immature or just
I was
stir
the
the
same
pot
way.
up. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's what I got in trouble for most of my life. I was always a troublemaker, and that kept
Yes.
on until I by the age of 16, I got into a lot of trouble. I started to have manic episodes, or at least that's what psychiatrists and psychologists will call them. And my parents were getting divorced. My grandfather had just died, all in the course of like a couple weeks, and lots of stresses were coming up. I told you about being a minority in my high school, and I had a really difficult time finding my expression and finding my way, as most teenagers do.
Yeah.
And really, I was struggling. I had experienced a lot of trauma and a lot of pain, and I just didn't understand the world. And I was rapping at the time, freestyling and
Yeah.
painting and just expressing myself however I could. But my no one had ever taught me about energy work or breath work. I had nothing. Even my nutrition was just out of whack. Like, there must have been so many imbalances, and on top of that, I wasn't sleeping. So, you know,
It's the inflammation out the ass.
yeah, I mean, I was always active, that's
Yeah.
that kept me. I was always a high energy person and kid. So long story short, I don't sleep for a couple of days and then I have a big fight with my father. I run away from home, I end up going through a shopping mall with a bag of my stuff. And, it was a very high end shopping mall. And they're like, what's this, punk teenage kid doing running through here with a garbage bag
Yeah.
with all stuff in it? So they accused me of shoplifting. They even put stuff into the bag and threw me off the property.
What?
That's when my resistance to authority like really, really started. Like, I had heard about the NWA and listened to hip hop, and they were like, F the police. And like, that was my first experience of like, I really don't like people telling me what to do.
Oh
And I
yeah.
especially don't like people, planting stuff and throwing me off, public property.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And I'm white, I'm like, and these were a bunch of white cops. And I'm like, all right, I guess I was just acting like a New York City punk kid or something. They didn't like it and they threw me off. So here I am, like removed now from the high end mall and at the gas station trying to hitch a ride back to New York City, which was about 2 hours away. Fight with the dad. Mom was back in New York, so I was just going to go back to mom and figure it out. So I started hitchhiking at this gas station, and apparently in Connecticut, hitchhiking is illegal. So and the mall cops, they called for backup for the real cops. So so here I am, like hitchhiking, trying to get the hell out of this place, and like 3 or 4 cars roll up, and the state troopers and local police, and they kind of surround me, and they had gotten a lead, like watch out for this guy. He's at the gas station. And, I was already ticked. I'd already been through some trauma, and they kind of surrounded me and threatened to arrest me. And I said, you can't arrest me. I didn't do anything. And they surrounded me, and it just escalated and escalated. And there was a fight. It was like I ended up swinging and getting the crap beaten out of me by a bunch of police officers,
Oh, that's fun.
and then thrown in a jail cell. And just like my understanding of the world was just completely not there. I wasn't, I couldn't figure out, I was losing it. I was actually losing my mind, and experiencing some level of disconnection and insanity at that point of like, I don't understand how this world works. I don't understand this culture, this society, the way I'm being treated. I just want to connect. And I feel like I couldn't do that. I couldn't connect with my father, couldn't connect at school, couldn't connect with the police, couldn't connect with freaking anybody. So it was like this genuine, like, angry at the world syndrome. And it was something that was just so relevant for me. And then, after spending a night in that jail cell, they sent me to a psychiatric ward to kind of do some tests on me and to study. And I ended up being in that juvenile psychiatric facility for about 2 months. And if you've ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's
Yeah,
Nest,
yeah, yeah, definitely.
it's kind of like that, but for kids.
Oh, what? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
those places exist, and they're the types of tests, man, and the types of young teenagers that have been through trauma, rape, abuse, addiction. I mean, it's like all of a sudden things were bad, and I just got thrown in the bin with a bunch of other cuckoos, right? And
Yeah,
it got even worse. I tried to escape, and it's almost like, from a spiritual perspective, you're talking about a place where lots of spirits are roaming uncared for, and the tools are not in place to help those people with their mental health, their spiritual health, and their addiction. So literally, it's a psychiatric ward is a madhouse of evil spirits that
yeah.
do not know how to be cared for. So it's a really scary place to be. And I mean, being in there day in and day out, I mean, I would try to escape. I was put in straitjackets. I was injected with things. The fights continued. And I just, I got in touch with my primal nature in there
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I was being treated like an animal. So I started acting like an animal. And eventually I was able to get out of that place. It's sort of a plea bargain that you're bipolar for the rest of your life. And
Yeah.
take these 3 medications for the rest of your life, and you're going to go back into society and be a zombie. And that's basically what those medications did to me. They numbed me out completely. I didn't feel emotion anymore, didn't feel happy, didn't feel sad. It was just blah all day long.
That's fucking crazy. How long did
So,
you experience that?
so that went on for about 6 months, and my parents were divorced, so it was split custody and back and forth, a couple days with each parent. And long story short, I mean, I put on about 50 pounds in 2 months. So I went from my normal weight, about 180, to 230 pounds. Stretch marks, like
Yeah, that's
acne, just inflammation, imbalances, started emotional eating. I was just so depressed, man. My spirit was just like being sucked away by these medications. And it was just so difficult. I went from, being captain of the swim team and, on the football team and tennis. I played 3 sports, and then I failed off every one of those teams, and my grades went down and my life just went into the shitter. And I said to my mom, when I was at her house, I said, I don't want to take these anymore, Mom. And then we just had like a moment, and we just started crying in each other's arms. And she's like, I don't want to give you these pills anymore. I seen what they've done to you. What happened to my son. Like, literally my spirit, like my personality was almost gone.
yeah, it's
If that
that.
makes any sense.
It
Like,
does.
it was a really, really high dose of toxic poison. I won't even call it drugs or medicine. It was just poison for my soul. And so it was just maybe a few weeks later that I stood up to my father and I said, I'm not taking this. I'm not taking your half of the medication anymore. And then I ran away again and just spent time with my mother and basically made a deal with myself that I was never going to put that medication in my body, medication, right?
Yeah,
And I started to take my life back, got the grades back up, got a full scholarship to Vanderbilt,
that's beautiful.
pulling it back together. And, I just made a deal with myself. I said, well, I never want to be arrested again. I never want to go through any of that again. So I'm going to play by the rules and, make a lot of money and, pay taxes. And, I knew it was all kind of bullshit, but I'm just like, well, this is the situation of, life in the United States of America. And this is where I was born. And I guess this is how it has to go. It seems like
Yes, I found
anybody who's
myself on that
winning,
path as well.
anybody who's winning is making money. And, it just seemed like that was the logical or grounded, realistic, practical path to being happy, right? So
Successful.
successful, right? And that's what my dad always encouraged. That's what even in school. That's what grow up, get a job, and have a family, and just the typical.
Yeah,
But the do what you love narrative was never really present growing up in New York. It wasn't. It was like do what you love, but you got to make money. You know, that was always there.
I think that's America.
So, but yeah, very much so. And yeah, so that's what I did. I went to college, and in my 20s, I started out in commercial real estate in Manhattan, and worked for about 8 years in commercial real estate and did pretty well for myself. And by the age of 27, I was burnt out. From 22, 27, 28, I had a near death experience. I was at the gym one day and just pushing myself on all levels.
Yeah.
Lots of caffeine, alcohol in the evenings, partying, and I had that near death experience. My heart stopped for about 2 minutes. That was my big wake up call. That was like, okay, like
That'll do it.
you got good genes, kid, but you're not invincible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that and not invincible wake up call. Yeah.
So that was the day that everything shifted, and I began my spiritual journey. So that was 7, 8 years ago, and
Wow.
yeah.
That's magnificent. Okay. So how'd you start your journey? What'd you do to begin the healing?
Well, I'd say that experience, that near death experience, in and of itself, was the beginning of
Right.
like EMT being activated in my brain, and me questioning really like my connection to source, because I had a firsthand experience of what that connection was.
Hmm.
I heard this voice. It wasn't even in English. It was just a voice of like, remember who you are, like
Yeah.
here now, just like this very movie like white light at the end of the tunnel, awakening of sorts. And it's almost like if you Google near death experience and you watch all the accounts of like several different people and their near death experience, they're all strikingly very, very similar.
Yeah, I've read a book about that shit. It's crazy.
It's not far off from everybody and how they describe a DMT experience. So naturally, I wanted that experience again, and I wanted to understand what DMT did to the brain and what plant medicine was all about. So I immediately sort of dove into that path and started
Okay.
working with different healers, different shamans, and meditation and the yoga path as well. So it was very much a deep curiosity that I had about spirituality, because spirituality in its truest essence had never really been present for the first 27 years of my life. There had been religion where people tell you what to do,
Yeah, and go to church.
how to live your life, and not really giving you the real practical tools in most religions, and hardly any religions as we know them are really giving you the real deal. So I wanted the real deal, and I had to find it for myself, because nobody was like preaching the real deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's kind of allowed me to go deeper and deeper. And what I realized, was the people carrying the real wisdom were the most humble, kind, gentle souls. And a lot of them were, from native tribes and from, indigenous cultures. And, they had experienced that oppression from people that looked like me for so long, that it was really a wake-up call to sit in a peyote ceremony with Mexica elders and people from Mexico and Arizona, and people that have been practicing these ways for decades in their own life, and then their fathers and generations of the Native American church and things like that. It was really eye-opening and beautiful to witness all of that, because it called into question everything that I was brought up learning as truth.
Right.
And it was almost like I was under the understanding that we live here in America, and the Native Americans, or the Indians as they were referred to, were just here first, and you never really grasp what actually happened in that interaction. 1776, we come over on the Mayflower. Before that, right, on the
Slaughtered. Yeah.
it's like you weren't, without having been there and without going on to a reservation or experiencing the native ways, you begin to understand these people were the kindest, most gentle, like loving people. And they had their warriors too. They hunted too, but what colonialism did to these native people of this land. I mean, when you really learn what happened to that, you understand, how it really went down. And really, I had known that, but I never felt it. I never
Right.
really, felt it in my heart. So, so I just started to question everything I was taught in school, and the version of white man's history, even.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
break down the word history, his story, and I'm like,
I've never heard
well,
anybody do that before.
story that is, Christopher Columbus Day is now today is now Indigenous Peoples Day for a reason, right?
Right.
Whose story are we listening to here? It's usually the winner of the battle, right? So I'm like, wow, I really want to understand Native culture. I really want to understand communion with nature. I really want to understand earth-based spirituality because it's the only thing that rings true for me.
Yeah.
And I want to connect with the earth because I love the earth. I'm like, if I'm here to do anything, that's what makes the most sense.
Yes.
Honor the trees, honor the earth, walk barefoot. Like all of these things just landed for me on such a deep level. I'm like, why didn't they teach me this in school? And then
Yeah, because
I know exactly why.
they want to stick you in an apartment.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, man, it was really just connecting to my own heart and connecting to myself on on a deeper level with every ceremony that I did and every step that I took towards the conscious path. It has been a beautiful one, and the work never stops. It just keeps on going.
Yeah, man, it's freaking awesome. I love how everybody who's found the truth has such a similar path of like there's a few different wiggly rooms of ways to get there, but it's all meditation, breath work, nutrition, plant medicine, all of these different things, and it's cool that the truths are all universal, and then you can find them in so many different ways. They're all just dressed up in different words. It's interesting. It's a beautiful thing, and it's really fun to like be a part of it because I'm just now getting into it. I've only been on this journey for maybe a year or two, like spiritually, probably maybe less than a year. So it's really cool to just like completely dive in, jump in, and then like look around and see everybody doing the same thing, and it's freaking cool, man. It's freaking amazing, and I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad that you're here and that this man tribe is here.
Yeah, brother. Awesome.
Hell yeah, man. Okay, so I do have three questions for everybody that comes on here that I'll ask you before you have to go. First question is what is your definition of success?
My definition of success is soul alignment and joy.
Yes.
Just living with joy every single day. It's like I posted this quote. It's like enlightenment is when every cell in your body is saying yes to life.
Okay. That was actually my second question, so there you go. Well,
Success to me is that spiritual
yeah.
success, and it's doing like dying happy and knowing that we gave it everything we got. And we're at a time where we've been thrown in, like our spirits have been thrown in during this lifetime to live in a tumultuous roller coaster of challenges.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, I could die right now and like, with a pretty big smile on my face. I know I still got some work to do, but I'm like, man, like, you know what? I've had lots of opportunities to change my life, and I feel like I took most of them, especially once I knew better. I've been doing the best that I freaking could, and
Oh yeah.
made still been stubborn and made some mistakes here and there. But if I look at the big picture of my life, I'm like, man, yeah, grateful
Worth
for
it.
it all.
Ready to go, man. I'm right there with you, and that's a good feeling to have is that contentness. It's a beautiful thing. Not no, I don't think enough people have that. You
Yeah.
know, and I think that also goes hand in hand with the realization of oneness and like it's all energy. It's all the same thing, and it all lives on.
The more people I speak to, 10 new people a day sometimes. Today it was like 8, but the more new people that I enroll in our community and speak to, it's like that understanding of oneness or all being connected is not present out there in America. And I
It's
know that
not.
I speak to so many different people across the country that come from our ads or come from our, marketing. I'm really getting a pulse on like what's out there and what's real, and just the average American's life, or the average man's life. Really, I say I'm speaking to a lot of men on
Yeah.
different journeys.
Yeah, yeah, it's crazy how much people are just like not aware of. For instance, I've realized lately that like people don't even understand what podcasts are, or that they're there, or like the value of them, or what they can do. Like I've been trying to tell people, I'm like, hey, have you seen my podcast yet? And they say, yeah, I see it on your story. And I'm like, no, 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 that's an advertisement for the podcast. You go listen to the podcast, and then I tell that to people, and they're like, yeah, I'll when I have a free day, I'll go and watch it. And I'm like, no, 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 no. You press play in the car while you're eating or doing something else. And like people don't even understand how to use or what podcasts are. And I think I actually just realized this today because I had somebody tell me that too many at the time. And I think that's a new mission for me, is to just put the word out there of like what this is, because I think most of my knowledge of spirituality and all of these different things, and the thing that even got me into it was podcasts, and just like having that resource.
Well, you're a natural, brother. You got the flow down, and it seems like something that you're really, really good at. So
Thanks, man. I have never been passionate about anything else in my life like this before, so it's really cool. Cool, man. So one final question for you. What is the singular biggest thing that somebody can do on a daily basis to help change the world for the better?
meditation.
Nice. Excellent. I like that
That
answer.
comes in so many forms,
Yeah.
walking, barefoot meditation, cold plunge meditation. It's like, don't ever say that you can't meditate. There's like a million different ways to meditate. So if you say you can't meditate, you probably just haven't tried a way that works for you.
That's right.
And encouraging everybody to find that inner peace. And for some people, it's just resting. It could just be conscious breathing. Laying down is meditation. It's
Right.
all. It's just bringing conscious awareness to anything.
Yeah, and watching the
Walking,
thoughts.
hiking, swimming. You can be active meditating. It's not this just sit there and do nothing. That's what threw me off in the beginning, was that I thought that meditation was just doing nothing, and like time was going by and I was wasting my time, and because I couldn't even connect that deep, before
Yeah.
my near death experience. So I think that's what a lot of people don't understand about meditation is it's bringing that peace, bringing that consciousness into anything that you do.
Yes. I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, because I use Ashtanga as my moving meditation, and so is jogging. It's a breath work practice.
And then
And
the importance of yoga too. Like yoga for thousands and thousands of years had always been to prepare the body for meditation. It's like, if people are struggling to meditate, are they doing an hour of yoga before? Probably not. Because if you were to stretch your body out and give your body that space, you're creating the space, you're opening the muscles and all of the body energetically in order to be at peace, right? Chances are people can't meditate because their body is in pain or tension or inflammation, and a yoga session before that's how the ancient ones and the monks and the masters do it.
yeah, wow, I didn't even know that. Thank you for that information. I'm gonna do some research on that. Cool,
Yeah.
man. So before we cut this off, do you have anything you'd like to promote? Anything you'd like to put out there, let the people know about?
Yeah, well, if this is going out there, we got the Man Tribe Retreat coming up November 12th through the 15th. That'll be in Eden Springs, Arizona, Eden Hot Springs, and we have deep dive enrollments launching every month. We have a big Man Tribe call tomorrow. You're invited, brother. We have monthly calls with our community that are free, and yeah, just if you want to connect with brothers on the conscious path, we're here. We're here.
Excellent, man. That's some beautiful stuff. Thank you so much for being here, man. Namaste.
Yeah, thanks, Joshua.
Cool,
Bye.
man. Peace.